Most women don't like most men. The first reason is due to inflation of options, right? The grass is always greener due to social media, dating apps, which have really boosted women's egos. Also, not to mention the 90-10 rule due to those options, meaning that 90% of the women are usually going after the top 10% of men and what they find the most attractive in the realms of looks, money, and status. And then average woman versus the average man. We have seen it time and time again. The average woman has access to higher status, more attractive men, versus the average guy really doesn't have the same access that even an average woman would have nowadays. And because of that, it's kind of skewed up the dating dynamics, which overall has made it harder for men just to land a single date.
Tell an average woman that she deserves an average man. Let me know how that goes. The delusion is real.
So whose life is harder, guys or girls?
Girls.
Why girls?
Periods. Birth.
We give birth.
Birth periods? Okay. But guys can...
And we literally have to get ready to go out. You guys have to take a shower and like put on a sweatshirt.
Guys kill themselves at a much higher rate than females do.
That sucks.
Jenna, holy shit.
Wow.
Fathers, stop telling your daughters they're princesses and giving them everything. They're all spoiled, entitled brats now.
Where have all the good women gone? So one thing I always hear is where have all the good men gone, right, in society? However, I just started looking up some stats, okay? 1 in 3 women have an STD. 1 in 3 women have had an abortion. 38% of kids are born into single-parent homes. The average age of first child is 26, which is before the average age of first marriage, which is 30. 45% of marriages end in divorce. The average number of partners for a woman is between 4 and 8, and when women get above 5 partners, their chance of a happy marriage goes from 80% to 20%, depends on the study, plus or minus 10%. And if men pick the wrong woman, they can be financially ruined and their kids can be taken from them. And on top of that, 60-70% of women are overweight in the US. The question is, how does a guy...
I don't have STDs, I don't have kids, and I don't have friends. No girlfriend or wife either. What I do have is peace of mind.
So if I'm 38, I feel like I've got through my early 30s without almost luckily, when I look at what my friends have to deal with their children, I almost feel a little bit blessed. What do you say to that?
Well, I would say that it starts to get pretty lonesome in life after 45 if you don't have a family. It's easy to consider the utility of an intense career, and like you have a very high quality career too, you know, that's something that marks you out from let's say more typical people, and perhaps that's worth more of a sacrifice. But you know, you're going to live till you're 90 in all likelihood, and it's not easy to consider your life across its entire span. And there's something to be said for developing a very close-knit, intimate community around you if you can manage it. You have children and then you have grandchildren, and what I've experienced in my life, although I've had a very productive career and a very interesting career, it's definitely been the case for me that my family has been more and more important to me as I've got older, and I don't think that that's a uncommon experience.
He called her lonely in the most polite way possible.
If you treat a good man like a secondary option, but you expect his loyalty, that man is going to be gone. But the crazy thing is that you're going to think that he played you, but he didn't, because he just instantly lost attraction.
A lot of men have checked out, myself included. Not even looking to date, not interested in anything physical, just tired of the nonsense and double standards.
Have you ever rejected a man specifically to test his determination to winning you over?
Yes, 100%.
So then how does no always mean no?
It doesn't. No can mean yeah.
Well, that's confusing.
No can mean yeah, and yeah can mean no. Just depends on how you say it.
For Chad and Tyrone, no means yes. For the nice guy, no actually means no.
This is what you said. You said, what's so special about me? Most women aren't special.
Well, that's down to your personal opinion.
No, I'm like, seriously, what do women bring in 2022 that is special?
Nothing.
Do most women have a cookbook? Do most women really know how to cater to a man? No. Are most women virgins on their wedding day? No. So what do most women bring in 2022 that is special?
But why is it all about what we can offer? Why is it always about what we can bring?
Okay, because when you're trying to sell a car, if you're trying to get married, right? And please, I'm not saying that women are cars. It's just an analogy. But if you're trying to sell a car, you have to study the buyer and figure out what the buyers want.
Offering nothing, but expecting everything in return.
You've been cutting hair for 18 years. You see a lot of cheating?
Yes. I've had people tell me they're more loyal to me as a hairdresser than they are their husbands. So I had a client come in and she was getting her hair blown out and I asked her where she was going and she said, out to dinner at such and such restaurant. So I happened to be going there also with a couple of my friends and I see her out and I introduce myself to the person she was with. They were kissing, hand on the thigh, and didn't think anything of it. Thought it was just her husband because I knew she was married. I thought they were just having a little date night. She comes in a couple weeks later, another blowout. This time, a different gentleman comes in and hands her her car keys. And I looked at her, I was like, oh, who was that? She said, that's my husband. So she was I walked in on a date and it was not her husband she was on the date with.
Hair done during the day, back blown out at night.
All right, y'all, so I just broke up with my ex of 5 years, and I literally have no complaints about her. Like, she was perfect, right? I used to, didn't have a car. Now I have a car. But when I didn't have a car, she used to let me ride around in her car all day while she was at work, and I still didn't have a job. And and it doesn't get any better than that. She used to pay for all the meals. She paid for the bills, all that, until I got my stuff together. But it was just something about her. It was just something about her I just couldn't comprehend. I can't really explain it to y'all, but she was so perfect.
For the women that are writing angry comments right now, and for the good men that are not happy with this man, don't attack him because it's a parody of a woman talking about her breakup on TikTok. We have seen a few of these now where a woman will come on and she will say that she just broke up with her boyfriend and she doesn't really give a solid reason why. She'll actually list all of the amazing things about him. Look, ladies, the reason why men get so frustrated hearing these stories is because they want you to be able to communicate why. And you're not really communicating why when you're just talking about all the amazing things about him. The real reason why I think you're having a hard time communicating it is because the real reason is that when you started dating him, you didn't really like him that much, but you liked his efforts and he didn't really require much from you. So instead of recognizing that and being honest with your real feelings, you kind of used him. That is why you don't really have a reason that you can tell that will still allow you to look like a decent human being. The end.
Dude flipped the narrative and proved the double standard is real.
I find it very interesting that a woman sits here to me and says, no, men are allowed to sit around and do all and feel sad, and those are the men they ignore when they DM. No. Those are the men they ignore them all. No. The man who works in Starbucks, who's sad all the time, you won't reply to him. Neither will any other female. So for women to come along and pretend they give a about the fact that most men are basically invisible. There is not a female on the planet who's invisible today. You can be a 4, overweight, fat, you'll still go to the club and get attention. 99% of the men go to the club and nobody even fucking talks to them. If they try and talk to a girl, they get blanked and ignored and told to Most men are absolutely and utterly invisible. This is the truth about masculinity, right? It's very easy for women to sit here and complain about the top 2% of men because I dealt with this guy, he's arrogant, blah, 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 blah. Most men don't even fucking exist. They send 10,000 DMs and never even get read, let alone replied to. So if you just sit here and say, I'll get a G, a big G, a boss, a millionaire, and let him have a day off, very nice of you. I'm sure you would. But
she knew it was true, so all she could do was nod in agreement.